Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Today we want to continue again with chapter 25 Al-Furqan. Verse 52 ended up by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam that whatever question, whatever challenge they will come, or you will be subjected to, it's in the Quran. The Quran have the answers to everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in a nutshell that the Quran is the answer to all the problems which the humanities face. How is that? Quran has the laws, the regulation, what to do, what not to do, what to drink, what you don't drink, what act you can do, what act you're not supposed to do. So everything in there, even the arguments about the authenticity and the truth, why the Quran is the word of Allah, is in the Quran. So, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the fresh water and talking about the sea water, and how both of those, the body of fresh water, the body of sea water, they come together. And they don't entirely mix. Basically, they make a barrier between them. Another ecosystem have different features because of the density, the difference of that. So it makes an intermediary place where different kind of seaweeds will grow, where different kinds of fish will grow, so on and so forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by this, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam never lived close to an ocean, never lived close to a sea, never lived close to a river. So for him or the Quran to bring water, how these guys bringing this information? And even the Arabs at that time, they're not familiar with water because they're not living close to water. They didn't used to live close to the water. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing us these signs for us here as this time, these scientific miracles of the Quran, so we can understand that these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Believe in them and act upon them. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ بَشَرًا. Then He have created from the human being, how the humans are reproduction from sperm and egg, come together, make a mix, and that's how people reproduce. Allah make it, what Allah is telling us is, I made it very simple. As though from inside, if you think about it, if you put it under the microscope, it seems it's going to be so complicated. There is genetic material, there is DNA, there is chromosomes, there is so many. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, for me it's simple. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ. Just from water. It's a water. Water plus water. Sperm and egg, water and water. فَجَعَلَهُ مُنَاسَبًا. And made from that human, after this, complex relationships. They become relatives. Bondship between them. Relatives. They marry. وَكَانَ رَبُّكَ قَدِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is capable. He said, Allah is capable and able to do everything and anything. And everything He does it with specific value. Specific precision. That this, at this kind of that sperm and that egg, will produce a boy, produce a girl. That boy, that girl will look this. He has a brown eyes, brown hair, or different. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was everything, even the color of the eyes, even the color of the hair, even how this person will be later on. where he will live. So everything is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has the qadr, the destiny, the decree. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, well, I have the decree, but Allah give us the free will because He created both decrees. You know, the good and the bad. You choose between them. Because you cannot hold Allah accountable. He said, oh, Allah, you already have the decree upon me. No, Allah doesn't, you have no, when you have a choice in this life, you have a choice. You can do the sin or you cannot do the sin. There's no external force forcing you to do something. You have a free choice. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's very qadir. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, so when you worship me, when you become close to me, what's going to happen? I'll guide you to the good thing, to the right thing. But what happened? People chose وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. They go and worship something else other than Allah. Different things. You have Jesus, you have the Hindu gods, you have the Taoism, Tao gods, you have the, name it. Mary, you have from some of the Muslims worshipping graves, some of them worshipping different things. So each religion, each people went and seeking anything different than Allah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَنْفَعُهُم. All the stuff will not going to help them. وَلَا يَضُرَّهُم. It's not going to benefit them. It's not going to harm them. Because who has the decree? Who has the outcome? Who is the one who's dictating what's going to happen? It's Allah. So you have to worship Him. Because imagine, you are in a corporation. And within that corporation, you have connection with the CEO of that corporation. You able to send him emails. You able to, he can invite you to his house after work. So what's going to happen? You think anybody, see your coworkers don't like you for any reason. Do you think they will be able to fire you? You think they will be able to get you out of this company? Impossible. Because you already have. And that CEO know you. He trusts you. He know what you're doing for his corporation. He value your work. So whatever these misinformation go to him, complaints, he will dismiss them because he knows you. That's exactly what it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the person, nobody can harm him. But the person has to create that connection with Allah. Without that connection, Allah will not even care about you. Nasullah fanasiyahum. They forgot about Allah, Allah forget them. As if they don't even exist. So when the person become aware, have that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will protect him. Even if the people who all the humanity coming to harm him, he will not gonna be harmed. If everybody come to benefit him and Allah doesn't want him to be benefited, they're not gonna be, he won't be benefited. So that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. وَكَانَ الْكَافِرُ عَلَى رَبِّهِ ظَهِيرًا. And that this believer, indeed he knows that. But what does he do? He gives Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala his back. That means he's not listening. That means he's not hearing. That means he's not comprehending. That means he's not using his brain to understand that you are very weak as a human. You are very susceptible to damage, to destruction. Nobody can control his destiny. You go, you drive in your car, a drunk driver or somebody speeding. The light turns red. He passed the red light and he hit you. In a second you can die. You have no control. You're walking in the street, a big brick falls down from the 10th floor on your head. But when you with the Lord, with Allah, and you have that connection, number one, He'll protect you. Number one, He'll make sure that when your exam end, that you already answered the questions right. Because everybody has to leave this earth. But He'll assure, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will direct. Will direct what? Your end. According to your connection with Him. If you're great, He's going to give you the bonus before you leave the company. Imagine you hear about CEOs, or they live in that company, they're giving them that much money for retirement. Why? They did a lot for that company. They're retiring. Oh, here. That big 401k with them. So they make sure, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that your end is good. That you will be admitted. Because all the time you were caring about Him. All the time you're paying attention to Him. All the time they have the consciousness of God. And all the time you're doing the right thing. أقول قولي هذا.